Hello, welcome back to my craft room. I can't believe that we're already on day 4 of Catalogue launch week. It hardly seems possible. Yesterday you were all able to see everything in the new catalogue, and I had a really busy day taking orders, so thank you very much to all of you, and I'm sure that you're going to be absolutely delighted when everything arrives. Today I want to talk you through the suite of products that when I saw them I had to have them first. I'm sure you've all got something like that. You look at them and you think, no matter what else, I'm having that. And for me, the World of Good was that set of things. I love anything to do with travel. I love maps, and so really this one was a no-brainer. And if you've got your catalogue, you can find everything on pages 24 to 26. So it's all there. So there's a whole suite, as I've said, that comprises a set of stamps and dies which are bundled. If you want to buy them both, you'll save 10%, but you don't have to. It's the Beautiful World stamps and the World Map dies. There's also the World of Good Designer Series paper pack, and that's a speciality paper with a lot of brass foiling on it. There are metal antiqued corners and slides. There's a new 3D embossing folder, the Old World paper one. There's Faux Suede trim, which is a beautifully strokeable ribbon. And there are brass foil sheets. And I'm going to show you all of those in a lot more detail, and I've got some projects to show you too. So first of all then, the stamp and die set, the Beautiful World bundle. So the stamps are made of red rubber and they cling. So you will need clear blocks to put them on, and you can't see through them, but they are practically indestructible. Red rubber is an amazing substance. The stamps, you've got a mixture of images and words. I particularly like You Make the World a Better Place, but there are all sorts of other things, and they're also very easy to mask. So this one here, which says thank you for being part of mine, obviously you can add that after one of the other ones. You could say life's a beautiful journey, thank you for being part of mine, or you make the world a better place, thank you for being part of mine. If you only want thank you, then you can just simply mask those words when you ink it and then stamp, and it will be just the thank you. It's a beautiful font, a very kind of old-fashioned made with a fountain pen, not a fountain pen, what am I talking about, a dip pen, a quill pen look. It's really beautiful. I wish I could write like that. I can't. If you know my handwriting, you know what that's like. So useful words, you've got a compass here, you've got both sides of the world represented. You've got the Americas here, and then here you've got Europe, Asia, Africa, Australasia. There's a quill pen and an inkwell. There's a stand for your globe, and then there's a couple of little swirls here that can be for all sorts of things, including testing out that quill pen. So that's the stamps. Here are the dies. You probably know by now I always store my dies on magnetic sheets, and I always draw around them on the magnet with a chalk marker, because then if one is missing I can see instantly, first of all, that it's missing, and secondly, which die it is. And I have cut them out for you to see with a couple of colours which are very high contrast. So you've got this one here which cuts this alternate long and short set of lines on the diagonal, so you can make borders with that, or you can cut it into strips and apply it. Then you've got a sort of a cut-out version of the two sides of the world. You've got a die as well which cuts out either a circle or cuts these out exactly. You've got a stand here, and you can either put your stamped or die cut world on top of it here, which looks like it's being held in by two pegs here. You'll see a card in a minute where I've done that. Or you can slide it behind this bar, so this bar will come across here, and that gives you a different look. And then there's a second stand here, a lower one. You've got a die cut swirl, you've got the quill pen and an inkwell, and then this one here, I'm going to hold it up. I'm hoping you can see if I tilt it a little bit, but you may not be able to. This doesn't actually cut. This is a die that embosses, which sounds a bit like a contradiction in terms, but there you go. This is what it looks like. So it just embosses, it doesn't cut. And on here are latitudes and longitudes across the world. They are actually the location of Stampin' Up! Offices across the world in various cities, although you wouldn't necessarily know that. But it makes a really interesting background. And if you imprint this on your card, you could then ink over the top. And because this is debossed, the lettering would then show much more clearly, so you could do that for an interesting look. So that's the Beautiful World stamps and the World Map dies. I said that there was an embossing folder, which is the Old World paper embossing folder. This is fabulous if you like the look of scrunched up paper but can't bring yourself to actually scrunch up the paper in the first place, which I know a lot of people do. It's a 3D embossing folder, which means it gives you really deep embossing. Remember when you use these to always put them into your embossing machine with the hinge side first, and that way as it gets squashed through, you've got an open end this end. If you put it in this way, then as it gets squashed through, your hinge here can burst. So really important to remember that. And you'll need to make sure that you use the correct sandwich as well. If you need any advice on that, just let me know. And I've got a sample here that was put through that embossing folder. It will do a larger piece of card than this. It'll do 6 by 6, but this is just a card front size. And this is one side. This is a raised side. And if I turn it over, you've got the debossed side as well. It's really lovely, very, very deep embossing. I don't know if I can show that. I probably can't, but it's beautiful. I said that there was a strokeable ribbon, which there is. So this is Early Espresso Faux Suede Trim, which is a bit of a mouthful. It does feel like faux suede. It's got a bit of a nap on it. It's 1/4 inch wide, and on your reel you get 4.5 meters of it. And if I tie it in a bow, it will tie in a bow nicely. It's quite soft enough to tie, but it's also firm enough to really hold that bow. It's not going to slip. So there's a bow tied in it. Really nice ribbon and masculine. It's not shimmery or glittery. It's really, really nice to use on a masculine card if you want. I promised you antique corners and slides. So these are made of metal. And you've got a mixture of ribbon slides and little corners, all in this antiqued metal. So the corners have got, again, I don't know if the camera will pick that up or not. Maybe it will. I'll give it a minute and see. They've got a pattern embossed on them. I think perhaps you can see there. And the ribbon slides have got some engraving around the edges of the buckle. Now the corners you can use in all sorts of ways, but you might use 2 or 4 around an image or a photograph. They look quite nice. And the ribbon will fit through the ribbon slide. So this one, obviously it coordinates, so it works perfectly, but you will find other ribbons that will work with these beautifully, and any colour would be absolutely lovely. I'm hoping you can see that. There we go. I think that's got it. Okay, so that's the antique corners and slides. These are metal, they're quite heavy. They will hold on beautifully with mini glue dots, so that would be my first recommendation for them. I think probably the multi-purpose glue will also hold them on, but you'll have to give them quite a little while to dry, because where they're not porous, the glue will take a lot longer to set up. We've got a new colour of foil sheets in brass. Gosh, view of my ceiling there and my camera. Now that shows you just how shiny these are. It's a very yellow metal colour, and it's much more of a mirror card, as you can see, than some of the other foils we've got. And I've got a piece of gold foil to put next to it so you can compare. So you can see for a start, particularly if I tilt them, this is the brass, this is the gold. So you haven't got that mirroring at all. And the brass is much more yellow. It actually reminds me a little bit of the difference between 18 karat gold and 9 karat gold. So if that means anything to you, that's kind of the difference. It's a really attractive foil, this one. I'll show you the patterned papers. They come in a pack of 12 sheets. There are 6 designs, which are all double-sided, and you get 2 of each design. So you can cut one and stroke one, which is always a good thing in my book. I'll try and show you both sides. So here's the first one. The colours in the pack, I'm just reading this off my pack so I don't get them wrong, a basic black, bumblebee, cinnamon cider, crumb cake, early espresso, misty moonlight, mossy meadow, whisper white, and of course the brass foiling. So this one is a darker version of Misty Moonlight in the background, and it's got a sort of a distressed finish to it, and then it's got this rather attractive brass foil grid on it. And on the back is Mossy Meadow, but you can actually got the continents of the world. Perhaps if you look at this one here, you can see you've got the Americas there. Over here you've got Europe. This one I absolutely love. This has got a lot of brass foil on it, and I've got it upside down. There we go, that's better. With, again, the globe image on it. And on the back, we've got compass roses with Mossy Meadow and white. And again, a sort of a distressed look. If I sort of move the paper around, hopefully you can see that. I said the previous one was my favourite, but this is my favourite too. So this is a bit as if you were looking at one of the poles, and you've got all the lines of latitude and longitude coming out, and then again, I'm hoping the camera will pick this up, you've actually got the constellations on here picked out. You can see the stars, and then the actual constellations are actually drawn in around them. It's completely stunning. And on the back, this is reminiscent of the die I showed you, which debosses a pattern. So this is a sort of a distressed version with crumb cake. So very, very subtle. That will be a useful one. Here we've got a map of Europe with the brass foiling on it. London is over here, and then you've got the mainland of Europe here. And on the other side, you've got a grid with, again, some smudging on it. It looks a little bit like the continents, but I'm not sure if it is, but it's subtle, which is really nice. And this is Bumblebee, that beautiful golden yellow. Then we've got a similar pattern, but done in espresso, early espresso and crumb cake and whisper white. And then Misty Moonlight with the compass roses on a grid background. And then another piece which shows the other pole. And again, hopefully you can see that you've got the constellations on here. Completely stunning, this one. And then on the other side of that, you've got a map of North America. So really lovely papers, brilliant for any kind of travel. So travel scrapbooks, travel journals, travel notebooks. For somebody who is traveling anywhere, which I know at the moment is not happening, but it will happen again, and you could certainly do some preparation for that. But also absolutely brilliant for somebody maybe who's starting a new job. Lovely for men's projects, men's cards or boxes or gift wrapping. And the last item that I want to show you, which is shown separately in the catalogue, but is absolutely fabulous, are the Memories and More cards. Now, Memories and More cards are one of my absolute favourite products. I know some of you know this already. And they can be used for memory keeping, for traditional scrapbooking, for card making, for book making, and all kinds of other projects. And the kit, they come in a pack or a little kit, and you get large cards, small cards, and some of them are especially have a specialty I can't get my words. Some of the cards have a specialty surface, and in this case that will be brass foiling. And you generally get some extras as well. So in this case you get some sticker sheets. And there's ever such a lot of cards in the pack. I'm just reading out from my catalogue to make sure I tell you the right numbers. So you've got 50 cards in total, 50 double-sided cards. You've got 3x4 inch cards, so 50 of those with 25 designs, and they're double-sided. And you get 2 of each card again, so you can use both sides. And then you've also got 4x6 sized cards as well, which again are double-sided. You get 6 4x6 inch single-sided cards with the foiling, and 4 sticker sheets, which are all different. And I'm just going to very quickly flip through and show you these. Let me show you the sticker sheets first and get those out of the way. So these have all got the brass foiling on them. You've got some blank labels, some little accessory pieces, and words. You've got Discover and Dream. This one has got Find Joy in the Journey, and then it's got banner pieces, and then these 2 little foil labels say Travel. This one is lovely. You've got the compasses, you've got that same border design that matches the dies, you've got the quills, you've got a couple of globes on stands, and then you've got these pieces here which peel off and give you that lacework version of this in brass foil. And then this one has got similar images again. It's got the compass and it's got the world map on there. So these are all self-adhesive. I've got the larger cards here, and I'm just going to quickly page through them. So this is one of the speciality ones. So it's blank on the back, foiling on the front. It says work, play, travel, repeat. You've got that motif of the globes and the grid. You've got a large globe there. This is lovely. This is a world map. I've got the compass roses again. And are there any more? I haven't kept those separate. No, so that's just specialty ones. And then you've also got two each of these larger cards with a double faced design. So that's one side and that's the other side. The world is yours, and the other side. Life is an adventure. And I've got another one of those somewhere. Yes, here it is, with the map on the back. Telescope. And a map bordered card. I think the world of you. Make a lovely anniversary card. I've got to make an anniversary card this week. It's our anniversary on Saturday. And enjoy the journey with another map on the back. So you can see all the same colours, so these will work brilliantly with the papers I've just shown you. And because it's the same colours and the same imagery, everything just blends seamlessly together. Then these are the smaller little printed cards. These are 3 by 4 inches. Again, 2 of each design. What a wonderful world. It's never too late in life to have an adventure. And that says bucket list. The world cracks open for those willing to take a risk. Today's adventure. Dream big is on the other side. Explore more. And there's that map image again. And so the adventure begins. A day to remember. Reach for the stars. So again, that would be lovely on a card for somebody maybe who's graduating or going to university or starting something new. Life is meant for adventures. Try and speed up, actually we'll be here all day, won't we? I could talk about these all day long. Dare to live the life you've always wanted. Today was a great day. I've used one of those in one of the projects I'm going to show you in a minute. That says our journey. And be the change you wish to see in the world. So those are the memories and more cards. And in case you didn't know, we do have card bases that fit these cards perfectly. You'll find them towards the back of the catalogue. We've got large cards. They come in a mixed pack of large ones and small ones in whisper white. So they're creased down the middle, and you just fold them like that, and then you would build up your card like that. So you can see that's one of the larger cards, and it fits on there absolutely beautifully with a border, and then you can add whatever you'd like to it and an envelope to fit. And then the smaller ones work in just the same way. They fit the 3 by 4 inch cards. There we go. So that's the first one on the top. I'll just use that one. Be the change you wish to see in the world. So again, that fits perfectly with a little border, and you can make these as fancy or keep them as plain as you like. And there are other printed memories and more cards in the catalogue, so do have a look for these. They're beautiful. They save a lot of time on projects, or they can just be the beginning of something more complicated. So let me show you some things that I've made. So here's a fairly simple card. I've just used the quill image. I've used some of the patterned paper behind and a misty moonlight base to the card. I've used some of this lovely ribbon across it with one of the ribbon slides, and I've repeat stamped the quill image in. I actually used Night of Navy ink because my misty moonlight hasn't arrived yet. And I started in the middle, I stamped it, and then I stamped again, and then a third time without re-inking it. And then I worked out the other way as well. So in this case, I inked the stamp and stamped off because I didn't want one that was the full depth of ink. And then that was second and third generation. And I did use my Stamparatus for this. So those of you who've got a Stamparatus, I used the hinge step technique on that, which is how I got absolutely exact borders between them. And I got the feathers in exactly the same point, top to bottom on the card. And I just stamped the feather inside. And the words here, just because, are from another new set called Lovely You. This is really, really nice. Lots of words, and I absolutely adore that font. And along here we've got some little flower images and then all sorts of useful words. So I use just because, yeah, I'm going to send that, aren't I, straight away. All right, here's a slightly more complex card. I've used the stamps and die images. I've cut out the stands. On the label here, I don't know if you can see if I tilt it a little bit, I used that die that embosses. I did my stamping first and then I stamped the background. I embossed the background because otherwise I would have had an uneven surface to do my stamping on, which would probably mean I had some gaps in it. And incidentally, the same die that cuts that out will fit this sentiment beautifully if you want a circular sentiment. I've got some of the Faux Suede ribbon on there, a couple of the ribbon slides, and of course that is the new embossing folder there. And it's, I hope you can see that. There we go. It's a Z fold card, which is always nice for a change, and plain inside. This one was inspired by another demonstrator, Heather Thomas, and I've used a couple of the Memories and More cards on here. So Misty Moonlight card base, this is some of the patterned paper, but this here with the telescope is a Memories and More card, and these words you may remember are on one of the cards, and all I've done is snip them apart and I put them on a border of the brass foil, and then these little brass flags are a couple of the stickers. And inside I've just put a little bit of the paper along the bottom. And then finally, a little bit of memory keeping. I'm hoping that I can get all this on the screen. I think I can. So I've used a couple of the Memories and More pages here, and a couple of holiday pictures. I've actually got loads of holiday pictures printed off from my phone, and I will be doing a whole album of these, but I went to Cornwall with my daughter last year. So I've just added a couple of the photos here. I've taken one of the map cards and I've put one of the little arrow stickers just to point out where we were. A couple of the printed cards, and then on this one I've just written about the day. And it just makes so much more of a couple of fairly quick snaps that we took while we were there. And I really, really love being able to flip through a photo album. So I have a lot of these made already, and I've got an awful lot of photos waiting to be done. But that's a little bit of memory keeping for you. So there we go, we've come to the end of yet another video. So do enjoy, do have a look in your catalogue at the World of Good suite. There's some really lovely things in there, and I'm always up for things that will help make projects for the men in my life much easier to create, and these certainly do, but they're great for so many more things. So thank you so much for spending time with me, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.